Hi, Paul.
Hello, Roy. How are you?
I'm a little tired, but I'm happy in my heart. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Very good.
Good. So this is the fourth session, which is about rewards, and
Yeah.
it's looking at the evidence based on personal experience. So we're going to explore and review the whole program, but we're really going to focus on time.
Yeah.
Um, so the time in terms of using the memory, how time works for memory, how time works for time management, how we experience time, and whether or not we've used our time wisely over these weeks and months to actually engage in the process. So let me just share my slides with you. So can you see that okay, Paul?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just jump ahead. So it's about time. Um,
Yeah.
so do you remember when we talked about the curve of forgetting, the memory, the four keys for good memory?
Yeah. And then we introduced the idea of a memory palace and how to start um, tying our memories to objects so that we can remember it in the exam.
That's right. And how's that been going with some of the students that they've been beginning to explore using the palace?
Yeah, they have. Some students have tried it. The brave ones have tried it. And one student even said back, do you know what? So it even works. Um, so with just that little bit of effort,
Hmm.
you can have extraordinary results. In fact, there is no known limit to the human memory. It's amazing how much we can remember. But what we need to talk about today is because this sometimes spending time creating a memory palace doesn't feel like an urgent task. So we need to talk today about how we can manage our time so that we can do these really important things that might not save the day today, but will save the day tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So let's let's look at the the fourth key, which is the importance of repetition. So you have
Yes.
passion and purpose, imagination, and a system for learning. And this is Ebbinghaus's fourth thing. So what this is the curve of forgetting, which is it's very basic and it's good science, which is saying if you learn something, the immediate moment of learning, you've got 100% recall. But after about 24 hours, you lose. Well, it says about 20% there, but actually it's a little bit more. If you leave it after 3 days, you'll probably forget most of it. So that's why
Yeah.
you have to, after a day or so, come back and review it after
Mm.
24 hours, and then check it again 2 days later, so on day three, and then check
Mm.
it again on 3 days later, day six. Now that's just a guideline because some people need to review a little bit more and often. And again, I'll post something onto the teams strategies of working out the stuff that you know, the stuff that you kind of know, and the stuff that you don't know. So you can utilize that with the revision tool. This um, the curve of forgetting tool. So you revise some stuff on day one, some stuff on day three, some stuff on day six. So at the end of each week, you should be reviewing just a minute or so or a few seconds for every little bit of your learning. But you shouldn't
Yeah.
need to do that every day or every third day. So,
And if you've done it skillfully with the memory palace,
mm,
and you've made your memory palace vivid and funny and memorable and amusing and rude and silly, then you'll find that actually sometimes revisiting the memory palace can actually be quite enjoyable.
yes, and I think not only that, but it's about the practicalities, the physical process of rewiring and resparking that off. And there's no getting away from this. It's about engaging in effort over time. And most of us like to learn in the way that works for us easily, but real learning requires us to go through that knowing, doing, being process. So I know you've been looking at the time management, and
Yes.
the Stephen Covey, in his book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, and uses the 4 quadrants to manage time. Do you want to lead on this one and just sort of talk us through this, because these are your slides?
Yeah. So the way that I think we should be managing our time, and it's proven for hundreds and thousands of people, and this everyone, not everyone, but CEOs use this of major businesses.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And the presidents, prime ministers, very famous, successful people use this. And it's about deciding which tasks are important and which tasks are urgent. So when we say important, we mean that it's going to have a big impact on our life.
That's right. So that's the upper quadrants, the upper 2 quadrants. They're important. Yeah.
And when we say urgent, we mean something that needs to be done quickly or immediately.
That's right. So that's the upper right quadrant there.
Yeah. So where should we start? Should we start we'll start on the bottom, and we'll start bottom right.
Yeah.
With sort of urgent but not important. So we're talking about some social media, urgent, something that needs a reply straight away. It's not important. It's not going to affect your life. Social interruptions. You someone comes home from work and your friends call by. And some homework. A lot of homework is not important, but needs to be done tomorrow, otherwise you'll get detention. And the homeworks we're talking about. A lot of chores around the house, and again, they need to be done, otherwise you'll annoy your parents, but they're not important. It doesn't matter whether the dishwasher gets emptied or not. And also, the dramas that affect our lives daily. Yeah. So those are the tasks that you need to start thinking, okay, and they're not important to me.
Well, but the other thing about that quadrant is it's things that you hadn't planned for that just come through at the last minute. So if you're leaving things at the last minute, you've got no space for social interruptions, chores, friends, and drama. So this is what stuff that happens where we haven't planned for it, which usually pushes us over the edge in terms of not being able to do the stuff we need to do.
Yeah. And then we look at the not urgent and the not important, and this is the place where time is wasted. This is where people spend their entire Easter holiday frittering it away rather than revising or doing things which will actually help them with their life. So most social media would fall into this, or as addictive and as absorbing as it is, it's not important, and it's really not urgent. And a lot of gaming. Well, I'll come back to the gaming, because there are times when watching stuff on TV and when gaming can actually have a really good restful and restorative effect.
It can, but if it doesn't happen, no one's going to die from it. And I think this is important. Also, when you work through this with the students, when I've worked with the students, you ask them, well, where do they spend most of their time? A lot of students spend it here. And then they feel concerned that they're not getting the level of enjoyment from school or the outcomes that they want, because this is about self-management. This is about personal discipline.
And for me, it's online distraction. So when I'm wanting to get some work done, if I've got a screen in front of me, and I will have an idea, and I think, what's the answer to that? And I'll be straight on Google, and then I'll go onto Wikipedia, and then from then I've gone down a 20-minute internet wormhole. And that kills my time. So I have to be really, really strict with this. If something's not important and not urgent, then I need to remove the distraction. And that's really important, because as we'll talk about in a bit, you can actually get so much more done in a short space of time if we classify, categorize, and then remove the distraction. So we'll come back and talk about that, because we need to talk about tasks that actually are important.
Yeah.
So if we talk about the important and urgent, and this is the category where a lot of people live their life. A lot of people who are successful live their life here. And this is where last-minute cram revision comes in. It's important. It's highly urgent. A lot of homework comes in here, coursework deadlines.
Yeah.
Any job applications, UCAS applications, family emergencies, upset friends who need your help there, any personal life things which are genuinely important. So we can see that box is actually really important and has a lot of really essential jobs in there. So we're not saying that you shouldn't do those jobs.
No, because they have to be done. There'll be consequences to you or your situation if we don't deal with the important and urgent box.
Right. But if we go and look at the top left box, this is the box which most people neglect. And it's actually the job where you will find the most happiness and the most meaning in your life. And it's the box, if you concentrate on this box, and although it might not benefit you today, it will benefit you tomorrow and the next day. And what you will see is that over time, you will build these positive habits, which will have a profoundly beneficial impact on you. So we're talking about prioritizing your sleep, which for a million different reasons is essential to, especially as sleep is a place when your memories are formed, so they're essential for revision. It's things like making sure that you're doing exercise. If you prioritize last minute revision over long-term looking after your health, then you find that you will become stressed, and actually stress releases a hormone cortisol which blocks learning from happening anyway.
That's right.
It's about putting some time in for your family. If you build positive relationships, you will find happiness in your life. Happiness releases dopamine, or happiness hormone, which means that you will learn better. So long-term revision fits into here, and this is the one that we really should be talking about, because it's the long-term revision prioritized in advance. It's important. The test isn't tomorrow. It's not urgent. This is where you will find the success in revising towards your exams.
You see, but what's really interesting with this, and we're going to start looking at this in terms of time, based upon looking at the neurology, which is on session 1, and looking at the psychology, which is about levels of maturity and Graves's development stages, is if somebody is emotional or under stress, they're running on their limbic and reptilian brain, the hippocampus, and their amygdala is kicking in, so their fight, flight, freeze, flock, which means their behaviour can be kind of 7 years old and beyond and below, which means their experience of time is literally like this moment, and they can't neurologically find it really difficult to step back and have a longer term view, reflecting on the past and planning for the future. And in that upper left, the important, not urgent, that's where you create the space for your brain to function. If you are in the last minute box, then other challenging things happen, again, which I know that you want to refer to. So let's go. These are the outcomes of being in the various boxes. Yeah,
that's right. So we can see the bottom two. It's a waste of time, and you need to work out ways to remove the distractions. And we're going to talk about in a second some strategies for doing that. So what we're saying is that you need to have a plan in advance. What are your top left? What are your important but not urgent tasks? And you need to have them. You need to have a to-do list. I was showing a boy in year 11 my to-do list, and just to prove that actually I do it and that it helps.
Yeah.
And we need to avoid the top right, because that's, if you're not looking after yourself, you will feel stress, you will feel burnout, and you won't be successful.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what happens as we get towards the exams is that people start to feel that everything is urgent, and they stop doing anything in top left, and that can actually have the opposite effect to what we want.
I know, and the top left, I know, because some of your students are using this as a podcast, so the top left being, I want them to hear this, is plan and prioritise it, find purpose and passion in your life. The top left has been this programme. The top left has been us seeking to reflect on, okay, how do we work, what do we need to do, what strategies, and a lot of people want the immediate gratification. I want you to show me how I can do it and get a result now. Well, that's not how this works. What this works is being able to pan right back and go, okay, now I see what I'm doing. Now I can find purpose and passion and clarity and prioritize things, so I can then see the impact of it at each session that we deliver, whether or not it's on questioning relationships or resilience and results. You're not really going to appreciate the program if you are in that mindset of anxious, trapped, stressed, and burnt out, top right, or the bottom right, which is, it's not important, not urgent, and then it's all about you're deceiving yourself and you feel out of control. That means why you won't engage in the process. And if it's not important and not urgent, you're spending your life there, which is a waste of time, and procrastination and dependent on other people to solve your problems.
Yeah,
and that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, so for anyone that ever feels anxious or stressed, or they feel like they're under pressure, then the key is to start making a list and prioritizing, setting aside time for the important but not urgent tasks.
Yeah. And you put a list there, though, which the important and urgent, last minute revision, homework, coursework, deadline, jobs, all that. But if you can put the first things first, as you say, what this then does, it's a virtuous circle, because when you actually manage your time, give yourself sleep, create some exercise, focus on the relationship. There can be relationships with your friends and teachers. And we've created this whole, classroom using Microsoft. So you have the relationships with myself, with others, and you can talk to, you can post questions, and this will help you find meaning and give you strategy for long-term revision. And so what I'm hoping now is when we go through, now that we've finished the cycle, as I'll say at the end, it's actually, you may understand the importance of this, and you may move from not just knowing, where a lot of people have known what we're doing, but haven't actually done anything. Some people have, but some people have missed out on the opportunity because they wanted to know what it was before they did anything, and now we know what it was.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So let's talk about some ways in which we can start putting things first, because the brilliant thing is that when you put first things first, as in when we say that, we mean the things from the top left. When you start putting first things first, it means that you can have more time for the things that you enjoy and not less time. It actually will change your life. And this technique actually personally has had a huge impact on my life, because I used to procrastinate terribly, and in fact I would waste time everywhere. But since I started using this technique, the amount of work and hobbies and reading and everything that I enjoy is just absolutely boomed. So when I was revising, my mum used to say that I should revise in 20-25 minute chunks. And I always, she told me that it would work for me, and it did actually, but I'd forgotten about it for a long time until I read about this Italian psychologist who proved that the way the brain works is you've actually got roughly about 25 minutes in order to focus and to concentrate. And when this Italian psychologist developed this idea, actually he was working in his kitchen, and in front of him he had this little Italian tomato timer, which was by coincidence 25 minutes, and in Italian tomato is pomodoro, so this became known as the pomodoro technique.
Bellissimo.
So the way that it works is that 25 minutes of concerted effort will achieve more in that time than if you let the time drag on with distractions. So what we need to do if we're going to avoid those distractions, those not important, not urgent tasks, or the not important but urgent tasks, is we need to put away all of our distractions. So screens should be away. If I'm marking exams, I will have no screens in front of me, and we need to have a timer on so we know how long it's going to be. And we need to, I always have music on, so I will have some music, preferably music with no lyrics, because that will distract you. So
some if you listen to a song often enough and you know the lyrics, that just becomes white noise. So some lyrics, you shouldn't listen to a piece of music with new lyrics. That will be a distraction. But lyrics that you know, it becomes white noise.
Yeah, okay. Well, for me, no lyrics.
For you,
everyone's different. Remember the multiple intelligences. So I will have my phone on aeroplane mode. In fact, actually, sometimes I have to remove my phone totally. So music on, timer on, and I work for 25 minutes. And what will happen is I will be able to work really hard for 25 minutes. But the important thing is when the timer stops, so do I. And you should never ever be tempted to carry on, because what you need to do after the 25 minutes is stop and take a break, recharge.
Even if it's only for a few minutes, only sort of 5 or 10 minutes, but just break it, because it means that becomes like mini chunks of learning.
Yeah, it's a 5 or 10 minute reward.
That's right.
And the reward is so important. Not only is it one of the basic human needs is for reward, but also you will start to when you reward yourself, like we said earlier, you get that small little bit of dopamine, which means that you will be happy, and you'll start to associate happiness and pleasure with the revision, and actually start over time to think and enjoy the revision process, and it will work as well. So talking about the rewards that we have is really interesting, because for most people, the rewards will coincide with one of their multiple intelligences. So it could be that you have a physical intelligence.
Yeah.
You want to go outside and kick a ball around. It might be that you're very social and you want to speak to a friend, FaceTime.
Yeah.
It might be that you're maybe like your own little world, and you'll go into your phone and you'll scroll mindlessly. It doesn't matter. It's a reward. For me, it was always a bit of food, but.
Well, I think food is a good one. My suggestion is chopped up bits of fruit. When I work with, have done this with students, when I will just bring up chopped up fruit, and during the course of the lesson they can have it. And this was shared with me by a teacher who does physical education, and actually gives that whole. It's a healthy snack rather than a huge bag of mini Twixes. Or a box of biscuits. So healthy options, but a little bit of snacking.
Yeah, and also just to revisit something we said earlier about gaming and Netflix as well.
Yeah.
Because there was a really interesting study done which showed that if you plan to watch Netflix, or if you plan to play a video game, it has a significantly more restorative effect on you than if you just watch Netflix anyway. And the reason is, if you plan to do that, then it will feel like you're getting a reward, and it will feel like you've been successful.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just if you just watch Netflix mindlessly without planning to watch it, or if you just game mindlessly without planning to do it, it will feel like you've wasted time, and therefore you will be a failure. So simply planning the time to have those rewards will actually, not only will it mean that you feel successful, but it will mean that you're genuinely rested and more restored, and therefore more able to learn better. So it's a positive spiral.
Yeah, it is.
I was talking to a year 11 student yesterday, and he said, well, if I put aside time just for me, then every day will become me time. But if you prioritize first things first, so the important but not urgent tasks, and you do 25 minutes, break, 25 minutes, and then plan, okay, now it's 2 hours to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come back and do 25 minutes. And that 2 hours break, you will feel, not only will you feel rested because you've been chilling out, but also you will feel also that you've been successful because you've nailed the revision and then you've nailed the chilling out.
Yeah.
And when you become successful at chilling out, that's when your life can start to become far more interesting.
Which brings us right back to one of the first exercises we did about the importance of stopping, breathing, slowing down, and also the stuff that I know that you're doing in terms of the conflict transcend, of checking in, checking up, checking out. All of those are small elements of saying, I'm going to choose my focus for the week. What am I going to keep, develop, let go, using the Philosopher's Stone. And then getting to the end of the week and reflecting on what you've done. All of these are strategies that we built into the program to reinforce this delayed gratification. The whole research done on, the marshmallow research done on this?
Yeah, I do know that one well. Do you want to tell it again?
Yeah, they did this research in the 1960s where they got little kids, 7, 8-year-old kids, maybe a bit younger, and they gave them left them in the room, said, look, there's a marshmallow there. You can eat it if you want to, but if you wait until I come back in and you haven't eaten, I'm going to give you another one. So you're going to end up with two. And various things happened, like the kids would just go out, the adult would go out, and some kids would just eat it. No, marshmallow in the hand is worth two. Or they would distract themselves, and they would do things like sitting on their hands or talking to themselves or speaking to the marshmallow. But those children that actually were able to delay their gratification, and this is going to link into the thing about time, is they can look at that there is a better in the future. And those children that had that tendency, in every case, those children over the longer term were more successful, were more financially able, were more successful in their relationships, because what they'd learned is, I am in control of me. And everything that we're trying to do is to say to students, if you can just hold back from jumping into the immediacy, pan back to see the complexity around this, and then do something consistently, then can be a transformational experience. But you have to do it for you. And I think that's a big challenge.
Yeah, and that links very nicely back to some of the ideas we talked about before, about learning being a journey, and that we are on our own journey, but our script isn't written yet. We can write our own script. And if you are one of those people that is very compulsive and likes to procrastinate, like me, or is or takes risks for no reason, like in lots of ways, like I have my whole life, then you can learn how to put first things first. You can learn how to delay the gratification, and you can learn how to make sure that you're looking after yourself.
That's right. So just because of time, let's just finish off with the time to be. Again, the 5 elements of this: be open, be kind, be the change, believe, be consistent. But each one of those has got a science. Like to be open is neurology, be kind is a psychology, be the change is a sociology, believe is a systems thinking, which is what we're doing now, and be consistent, as you say, is the hero's journey, the mythology that we're all writing, or we have the opportunity to write our own narrative. Mm-hmm. And one of the interesting things is, based upon your experience of life, there are 6 time zones. And again, I put the video for this. This is the RSA Animate onto Teams, so the students and staff can see it. But why people engage or don't engage in anything is because we are driven by time. Some of us experience time, past, present, or future, past positive or negative, present, future, present and future, positive and negative. So past positive is, if you're past positive, you are moving towards the future, knowing that you've got a foundation of support from your family, the traditions, maybe your religion, but the things in the past that have given you support to make you feel that you have a bedrock of something really powerful to build off. If you're past negative, horrible things have happened to you. You've been let down by adults. You've been let down by the system. You've either let yourself down, and that's got into the habit of, oh, well, this always happens to me. And that's a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. The present positive is the people who get up in the morning and say, yeah, forget the past, don't worry about the future. It's what I'm doing today. The present negative is you wake up in the morning and you go, how am I going to get through today? There's already too many things to do, and you give up before you've had breakfast. And then future positive is that you see, oh, hello, are we back? I've lost my connection there. Are you with me? Are you with me? Okay, I'll carry on talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just lost it there for a second. The future positive is about, doesn't worry about the past. It's how am I going to act to develop the future that I want, which is what we're focusing on. And then future negative is you're so convinced that the future is going to be awful, you don't even try. And it would be fair to say that we have a lot of young people who are overwhelmed by all the horrific things that they see happening in the future, and they kind of give up in the present. That makes sense to, yeah.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Okay, so let's just finish off then, just to summarise the journey that we've been on, as you say. So we started in this project exploring the four human needs of questions, the need for relationships, the need for resilience, and the need for rewards. So this program works because it's based on those four human needs. And what we've introduced is a simple system, and you've added to them within the school of, the check in, check up, check out, but to be consistent in the process, to go from using the four human needs to question for relationships, resilience, and results, and to know what we need to do, and then doing this, and knowing that through our doing we be it. And what we have now is this matrix that I hope that the students and also the staff involved in the program can see the elements and how they all fit in, and what we are asking people to do in terms of the questions, the relationships, resilience, results. They can work horizontally or vertically. This matrix is an interconnection of the need to question and relationships, resilience, results, and the foundations for this is for questioning. You need unconditional mutual respect. You need to have dialogue, and again, we've set that up both within the sessions and via Teams. You need feedback, which is a check in, check up, check out, keep, develop, let go. And that will lead to deeper understanding. But if you don't arrive with respect, you don't want to engage in dialogue, you don't want to receive feedback, you'll never get a deep understanding. And that's why we've used the mythology, the hero's journey, the call to adventure, acceptance of the call, crossing the threshold to pass the trials, and return with the elixir as a simple tool, but it's quite a profound tool. Because if we are going to develop questioning, we need to be open. If we're going to develop relationships, we need to be kind. Resilience, we need to actually be the change. And to get the rewards, we need to believe the evidence. And so what we did in our first section was look at the neurology and the four essential questions of why, who, how and what, and how they link into the human needs. We then looked at the psychology of being of managing change and working well with others, and that moves us from unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. And then last time we looked at the learning, the memory skills, but this requires purpose and passion to understand and to plan, and then to act, evaluate, and then embed it by choosing what's working, what's not, what you need to keep, develop, let go. And then where we are now in this final stage is recognizing that when we ask why, we tap into unconscious incompetence and our purpose and passion, and this develops our intuition or spiritual or gut feeling. And then the who, the conscious incompetence, the understanding and plan is our emotional and creative intelligence. The how is like, how well did we do? Were we consciously competent? Did we act? Did we evaluate? And that's practical and applied. And then finally, the what question led to the unconscious competence, embedding the process. And this is developing our critical thinking and analytical approach. So all of those boxes are needed, all of those elements, and that's what we've done throughout the program. And now that we've finished it'll be interesting to see how many students go, oh, now I get what you're talking about. Where do I go from here? So that's it really. I think what we're looking for now is where do we go to our next stage, and asking, what do we need to keep? Now that I know, what do I need to develop? What do I need to let go? And the good thing of having everything on Teams is the students and the staff can go back and they can look at the content. And the good thing that's happened, certainly with working with you, is we've improved the content. We've got better videos, we've got more simpler exercises, it's less complex. And so that is the nature in which we improve, by regular feedback, by dialogue, and by deeper understanding. So that's it really in terms of this program. Any thoughts before we finish off?
No, I just think that good luck to everyone on their journey, but make sure you feed back to us so we can help you with the next round.
Yeah, and so here's a final slide. if you haven't been on the journey, if there's anything that you've missed out on because you didn't think it was the right time, here's a little poem, because this is from the Four Quartets by T.S. Eliot. It says, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of our exploring will be to arrive at the place we started and know it for the first time." Some of you needed for us to go through this whole process for you to go, now I know. And that's both, not just students, that's teachers as well. And you can now go back, all the resources are there, and we're going to help you. Certainly over the next 4 or 5 weeks, we're still going to be there on Teams, and you can start the process again. And once you've gone through the process, you'll realise actually that no do be line is quite a simple one, because what we've actually been doing is a cycle, which is a little bit more complex, and that is the brand for Undiscovered Country. The cycle is the order. It's the processes that we take you through. And that little squiggle sort of nod to the learning line is chaos, because order and unpredictability is a definition of chaos theory, which is what we've been exploring. So thanks very much for your contributions. Look forward to carry on the conversations. I look forward to carrying on the journey with you. Thanks very much, Paul.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.